in much of the gender debate back and forth, a lot of people have used the point, you know what, we don't see transgenderism in any other species. We're just seeing this in humans. You're not really seeing people, you're not really seeing other species decide that they are in fact a woman when they were born a man, or they're in fact male when they were born female. Apparently now, we may have evidence of this because this transgender person also has, I guess, a trans dog. Let's watch.
What most people don't know, though, is that my dog, much like myself, was assigned male at birth. However, we are both girls. Here's your friendly reminder that gender is a human-made construct that is not based in reality. When it comes to animals, dogs don't care about gender, but humans do. Hera, for example, has never once lifted her leg to pee. She is not territorial. However, she has humped one dog that has humped her, and she has humped her own toy once. And to Hera, it makes no difference if I put her in a dress, if I put her in bows, or if I put her in a cute little matching hoodie. Hera is happy so long as she gets exercise, she gets fed, she gets cuddles, she gets loves and pets. Hera, kiss. Good girl. What makes
Okay. Oh, there's more. Sorry,
no
there's
sense
more.
to me is how people care more about respecting the gender of my dog than they do myself and other transgender individuals. So this is your reminder to treat people like you would treat a dog. Ask people for their name and pronouns and share your own. And never assume someone's gender identity, because someone's appearance and someone's body does not always equate to their gender identity.
Okay. This was not the serve that I believe this person thought it was. He/she did in fact not eat us up on this one. There's actually a lot to be said here. So I guess, markers for why this dog also happens to be trans is that the dog is not territorial and the dog does not lift the leg to go to the restroom, which are apparently male traits in dogs. That's what this person is deeming. And because the dog does not do that, the dog is somehow female. What a coincidence that a transgender person who transitioned from male to female also has a dog that identifies as female when they were in fact born male. I also want to say, a reason that maybe people just go give your dog, whatever pronouns you tell them to give your dog and refer to your dog in that way is because people are not going to be bending over to check the junk of your dog, nor do they care what pronouns they refer to your dog as. And this just further emphasizes the very simplistic view that many trans people have towards their identity of being a woman, and I'm talking about trans women in particular. They think because they take on a handful of female characteristics, or what have been deemed to be female characteristics in their daily life, that somehow makes them female in a deeper sense than any of us are willing to grant. Just because you like to have long hair, or wear your little pink and blue hoodie, or you like skirts and dresses, or high heels, or glitter, that does not make you a woman. And the fact that they've now projected this identity onto their dog because their dog lifts their leg and isn't territorial shows how superficial their view of womanhood actually is. And it just gives further evidence to the fact that the reference that you have and the support you have for your own female identity is so weak that you extend it to a dog that takes on a couple of feminine traits, or at least what you've deemed to be feminine traits in a dog. Are you insulted yet, ladies? Are you insulted yet? Because this person has an extremely base level, simplistic view of what it means to be a woman and is now like cosplaying us in daily life and having their dog do it too. I would say poor dog, but they're right. Dogs do not give a shit. So I think the dog is fine. It's just a really strange argument to make on behalf of your own gender identity.
Yeah, as long as he doesn't start pumping the dog full of hormones or try to do some kind of surgery. I mean, I wouldn't put it past us, right? It's so crazy because you watch this and you're like, is this person serious? Like,
right.
Are they actually serious right now? And On the one hand, I think there's like a little bit of tongue in cheek, like, doing this on purpose
course.
to get attention and whatnot. But I think also when it comes down to their actual worldview and how they see the world, they believe this. They actually are. This is the reality that occupies their mind. And this, like you talked about before, the need not to lie. And when there's something called Chesterton's fence in philosophy, right? It's like someone comes up on a fence and they're Reformation minded, they're open minded, and they assume that just because I don't see a good reason why this fence is there, I'm just going to go ahead and remove that. And the principle of it is you should not remove barriers that you do not thoroughly understand why they're there. And it seems like what we've done in society today is just go full send, removing the barriers of biology that once dictated our understanding of what comprises sex, what comprises gender. And in so doing, we have created this slippery slope. They call it a slippery slope fallacy. I don't see a fallacy anymore. It's literally a slippery slope. We have people saying their dogs are trans now. And as much as that sounds, maybe it's like I'm clutching my pearls as a conservative, whatever right-wing reaction to it, it's like you're playing games with reality. And like I said before, this is a silly example of a person with their dog, but this same ideology is what's leading to our military prioritizing pronouns over actual national security. And we see it in domain after domain. And we're getting further and further away from reality, and more chaos and more disorder and more confusion is coming in its wake.
100%. And this is meant to be some sort of gotcha moment. And it is, in fact, the exact opposite. I cannot stress that enough. This is not a gotcha moment that you've regendered your dog or something and you're now trying to push that onto people, and you deem them to be, willingly accepting it because they're not willing to check you on the gender of your dog, because honestly, nobody cares what the gender of your dog is. So that's why people aren't checking you. It doesn't further reinforce your own identity, and it certainly does not reinforce the idea that you are a woman, for you don't even understand what it means to be a woman. And I say this as somebody like, okay, a lot of the stuff that I think about in today's day, and a lot of the topics that we talk about, is how do I understand the male perspective on this as a woman? How do I put myself closest to like the brain of a man and try to interpret some of the stories that I'm reading or some of the takes that we hear on men and dating and relationships and masculinity, and understand it as closely as I possibly can to a man. I can't get anywhere near understanding the way a man understands things because I'm not a man. So I can try and do my best to sort of interpret it through the lens of masculinity, but that is all that I am doing. And it is a weak interpretation in comparison to what we could aggregate from actual men with actual masculinity. And the lack of humility in not being able to admit that is just crazy. The audacity, the gall to sit there in a male body and say that you fully understand womanhood and that you deserve to take on the name of a woman or the identity of a woman is just absurd. And it really is so misogynistic in so many different ways, because not only are you like stealing this superficial version of womanhood and trying to like characterize yourself as it, but you think you know more than actual women to tell us that you are one of us. So it's really, really sexist at the end of the day. And I'm not one to often throw around the term misogynistic or sexist, as that's typically not the way I view things. But this is a clear and distinct example of exactly that. And honestly, they need to be humbled a little bit, because you don't understand what it is to be a woman, and you never will. And that's okay. It's okay. Just as I will never understand being a man, and I could never understand that fully because of who I am. Really as simple as that.